This is The Real Weight, where we explore how your life and your physiology are connected. I'm Frank Dominic. Let me ask you something. Have you ever sat down at a restaurant, opened the menu, and then within a few seconds, you're not even looking at food anymore? You're judging it. You're scanning for what's okay, what you should probably avoid, and what might throw you off. And suddenly, it's not simple. It's not just eating, it's a decision, a careful one. And you can feel it. That little bit of tension while you're trying to figure out what the right choice is. Something that won't mess things up. Something you won't regret later. That's a very different experience than just sitting down and enjoying a meal. And here's the thing. A lot of people live in that space, not just at restaurants, but all the time. Food stops being food. It becomes something you have to manage, something you have to get right. And once that shift happens, everything around eating changes. You order something you think is good, then you feel a little more in control. You order something you actually want, then almost immediately there's a reaction. Maybe it's subtle, maybe it's strong, but it's there. That thought like, probably shouldn't have done that. And once that thought shows up, you're not just eating anymore. You're reacting. You start thinking ahead. How are you going to fix it? What you'll do tomorrow? How you'll get back on track? And sometimes you just let it go completely and say, I already messed up. And that's where the cycle really starts. Not with food, with the meaning attached to it. Because once food becomes good or bad, you don't just change what you eat, you change how you feel about eating. And that feeling matters more than people realize. Now take that same mindset and bring it into your kitchen. You're making something simple. And instead of just making it, you start adjusting it, swapping things out, changing ingredients. Try to make it more healthy. And again, the intention is good. You're trying to do better. But what happens over time is food becomes something you're constantly editing, something you don't quite trust as it is. So now you're not just eating, you're managing, you're thinking, you're second guessing. And that creates pressure, not obvious pressure, but constant pressure. Because now every decision has right and wrong attached to it. And that doesn't stay in your head. It affects your body too. Because the body doesn't separate the physical from the emotional. If eating feels stressful, your system responds to that. If there's guilt in the moment, your system responds to that. If there's tension around every decision, your system will feel that. And when the system feels that kind of pressure regularly, it changes how things regulate. Hunger will get less clear. Cravings feel stronger. Energy becomes less stable. And now it feels like food is the problem, when really it's the environment around it. That's why so many people feel stuck. They're trying to do everything right, but it never feels simple. It always feels like something they have to manage. And that's exhausting, mentally and physically. So here's a different way to look at it. What if food wasn't something you had to judge? What if it was something you just paid attention to? Not in a strict way, but in awareness. Instead of asking, is this good or is this bad? What if you asked, what does this actually feel for me? How does that affect your energy, your sleep, your digestion, and your hunger later on? That changes the experience completely. Because now you're not trying to control the outcome. You're learning from it. And when that shift happens, things start to settle down. You have less pressure, less overthinking, more consistency. And physiologically, that matters because the body regulates best when it's not constantly being pushed and pulled. So if this resonates with you, make sure you're following the show because we're going to keep building on this and connecting it back to how your body actually works. So for now, just notice something the next time you sit down and eat. What are you thinking about? What's happening in your head? Not just what you're eating, but what you're thinking while you're eating. I'll see you in the next episode.